Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from the profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. He conquers the markets, he turns water into wine. His timing flows where chaos turns divine. Cut sharp enough to time the sign. Yeah, this man's no common trader. He commands the market's numbers. We call him Chef Bailey. The market bends beneath his flame. Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from the profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. Markets move, they twist and swing. Every tick can burn or bring. Ryan keeps calm, he trusts his thing. The charts tell him everything. But when T1 makes ding, 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 the future spread their
Most traders
wing.
drown in charts and still miss the real levels. Get clear daily roadmaps for the S&P 500 futures. Levels, setups, and strategies that matter. Delivered straight to your inbox pre-market every morning. Subscribe now on Substack. Conquer the markets.
Hey, welcome back and happy Thursday. So tired from all the winning. You know, the Trump dance. You guys have seen it. We've seen it for a whole year, but now you get to see it with me too, because that's the way it is. What's up, Bryce? You're Bryce. Oh, yeah, boy. What's up, Shane? New investing. Good to see you guys. Man, what? I'm telling you, they played me yesterday. They played me. This is the exact what I was expecting yesterday. I've been talking about this spot. My, oh my, I've been talking about this spot. And you guys know yesterday in the pre-market breakdown, I said, man, we even closed below this. We have NVIDIA earnings, showed the map. This is going to be good. So I will tell you this. They kind of pulled the okie doke on me this morning. When we woke up, I was like, you know, we pulled back pretty good. We were sitting up there and I'm like, okay, look at this. I'm like, yeah, man, this could go either way. Like it is what it is, but it all played out. We gave it to you way in advance, and that's what's up. So we're going to go through the plan. I'm going to show you exactly how to read the plan. And again, when I came into the plan this morning, I was looking at this like, okay, maybe we're not going to dump, right? But again, I always try to have things for you guys so that you can say, listen, we had these certain above below levels, right? We use the VIX as our confluence. If X happens and VIX does this, we switch bias. That's how we do it, right? It's all about having all these other things to help us do our number, which is SPX, VIX in combination with ES. And Bryce, I just want to say thank you so much. Bryce gave me a huge shout out on DM yesterday, said that the post-market breakdowns were jewels that he's been learning so much. And so thank you, Bryce, for that. I really appreciate that comment. So glad to know that somebody's getting some good stuff off of this. And before we get into it today, because I got a lot of stuff to talk about, actually, I was a little late today because I was making slides and God, I was tired from all this damn winning. So here we go. We got, follow me across Ryan at all the socials at Ryan Bailey Edge, YouTube, X, Substack, and TradingView. I promise you I'll get the new indicator for the lines on TradingView this weekend at the very latest, but definitely follow me on X, YouTube, and Substack. I'm constantly putting out new content. I just put out an interesting new post today, something that, has plagued me for years. You guys should definitely check out on Substack. It's just talking about, don't look at other people's P&Ls. Like, don't compare yourself to other people. You're always chasing stuff like that. And it really dulls your edge. Because, not everybody is trading the same setups, et cetera. And as long as you have a process that works the way that it's supposed to, and the numbers are in your favor, then forget about what everybody else is doing. Stop chasing other people's P&L. So what's up, Raj? What's up, Richard? Good to see you guys make it. That's what's up. All right, so let's get right into it. And again, like I said, coming into this market context, one of the things that I want to talk about first is I know a lot of you guys were on this post-market breakdown yesterday, and it was amazing how everything came together today. Okay, so again, I'm going to put this into context for you guys. You guys have to remember, I write these trade plans about 8 o'clock in the morning, right? So I actually start at 7, and sometimes I don't get the trade plan. Well, most of the times I get it out by 8:15. Sometimes it's 8:30. Sometimes it takes me an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half to do these trade plans. I put a lot of thought into these things. And so just letting you know that, like, when I write these, I'm trying to see the future, right? Like I'm trying to be a Gandalf over here, right? And so it's hard, but knowing the process and knowing what we have to do, and that's why yesterday I gave you guys certain things to look at. And so we're going to go over the same. I talked about a lot of these certain things in here today. So let's get right into it. Okay. So here we go. NVIDIA earnings, boom, right up top. And the 69.65 magnet. You know what's funny is I actually talked about the last time NVIDIA had earnings, they crushed it. Then we were down 100 points the next day. I actually said that on yesterday's stream, and that is exactly what happened today. So breaking down NVIDIA earnings and the overnight volatility. So here we go. So of course, pointed out, this is the NVIDIA chart that was directly inside the trade plan. I also pointed this out yesterday in the post-market breakdown. This was a fresh picture as of the morning. So I was talking about how we were playing this, and they crushed earnings. They set the bar higher, yada, 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 right? However, we found large support on the weekly at 69.4350, which held us up all night and has currently pushed us right back into our closing location, and massive above below area is 69.65. So that 69.65 has been our big spot. As you guys know, I was short here going into the end of the day, which was this monster level right here. And of course, obviously, I got out before NVIDIA earnings and they pushed it up another 25 points, but they pulled back right into our big weekly at 69.4350. Now, this is going to be important. And the reason I keep pointing this out is because this was actually in the trade plan right at the beginning as well for everyone to see, even the free people. This was an important spot for me. As you guys know, I was short this spot yesterday, and then we played it from the top down. So it led me to believe right away that if we break this pivot, we got a lot more downside coming. Okay. So that's one of the reasons, and you'll notice it in the trade plan. We had a red tag news this morning, 8:30 a.m. This is very volatile, important news. We should watch for a shake at this time. And then, of course, negative gamma, guys. We were still in negative gamma. Oh, my God. These dealers, these options guys, they got it nailed. I'm telling you, they know what's up. If you see negative gamma, you know that we're going to get some vol. And we did exactly that. We actually had an 80-point range day in SPX, which was pretty gnarly. So these guys know what's cracking. So here we go. Now back into this. So this is the current market context, and this is the final thoughts. And I've said this multiple times before. This final thoughts is underneath the paywall. This is for subs. And, I have this on top so everybody can see this, because I want to help people out that don't, they can't afford to pay as well. And so this is up top, but this is kind of a recap where after I get done with the whole trade plan that takes me over an hour to write, I kind of give my final thoughts, and it's a nice recap. So check this out. So again, NVIDIA digestion and the SPX strength. Currently right now, SPX is above 69.40. We all knew that. That's where we closed yesterday. If SPX fails or falls below 69.14, the indices have a problem. Remember that. We're going to come back to that, okay? This is a big one, right? Because, again, I'm looking at levels. I'm saying, okay, if it breaks this, we're in trouble. Right now, it looks like we're up, et cetera. Looking at the futures, we're currently in our massive resistance area and had an opportunity to play yesterday, and it did not. That's true. We very much know that. And I couldn't, you guys I kept saying, man, that's just, I cannot believe this thing hasn't paid, right? We got a reaction and a 50-point pullback. That was last night, only from the overnight session to hold, and put us right back into our major area at 69.65, right? If we continue to push to the upside, and SPX gives us no reason to believe otherwise, in a combination of very suppressed VIX. So coming into the morning, I saw that we were down 50, and then we rebounded up, and I'm looking at this thing, okay, maybe they got the move. Maybe this is it. We could drift higher. We had negative relative volume, 35%. I'm not a genie. I don't exactly know what's going to happen, right? But I do know the levels that we're supposed to be looking at. So right now we are above our momentum shift pivots, right? That is a big deal. My recommendation is, with VIX approaching our untested area, keep an eye on VIX at the open to see if we get a reaction from 1765, and monitor above, below, and the ES at 69.50 and below SPX is 69.40. Use all these things in confluence to help you decide your move for the day. I'm sorry, Bryce. It makes me laugh because looking back at this stuff, it's ridiculous, bro. It's absolutely ridiculous. Bryce put up a G today early, right? And it's just so clear. And when you look back, it's almost like trade by numbers. Like, seriously, this is insane. So I know that everybody who subscribes to the plans is very happy. I really hope that everybody just did their thing today. It was awesome. So anyways, all right, so let's get right into it. So here's the deal. And I want to point this out one more time. I talked about this yesterday. Okay. I talked about this with you guys, and I said it earlier, and I posted this last night at 6:00 for the room. I said, well, look where price is, right? This is after the market opened. It'll be an interesting open tomorrow, right? Because we actually closed on the cash session below the 69.6350. This was the ETH. You see, we popped up. We played this higher untested area. And if you guys recall, 69.77, I told everybody yesterday, hey, watch out if we play this. Well, guess what? They played it. They didn't play it in the cash session, but they played it, right, in NVIDIA earnings. And then we opened up below. So very interesting there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up because, why not? I'm going to toot my horn. So check this out. This is crazy. So in the morning, in the Discord room, 8:42 in the morning, tell everybody, hey, I'm watching NVIDIA today, right? Because so here's what you have to understand. For those of you guys who understand how I trade my process, this will make a lot of sense to you, Bryce, and some other. I know there's some other people in here I can't see right now. You guys trade my process, right? And that's the whole, it works. You guys trade it. Now, I also have a video right on the homepage of my Substack that basically says, here's how I chart, here's how it works, here's all the color combinations, what have you. So for me, this dark purple level right here is a monthly level. That is the highest time frame that I chart by. And that gets the biggest and largest reactions when we get a smack from it, right? So it goes monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour. That's all I chart, right? So monthly is like it, okay? Well, this was the big monthly. So I'm telling everybody, hey, I'm watching this here. We're looking to get above below this. If NVIDIA continues to push up, we know that we're going to continue to drift up. If we don't, obviously we don't, right? So here it was right here, a little bit clearer picture for you guys, okay? This was in the post-market or the pre-market thing. And then boom, here we go. Here's today. Here's how we got the day kicked off. And again, we talked about this yesterday in the post-market break. This was one of the reasons we went over time yesterday, because I wanted to talk about this. We had a lot of things to talk about because I just could not believe that 65 didn't play yesterday. I know it was all about the NVIDIA earnings. They were basically making everybody wait it out. What's up, Michael? Catch me if you can. Richard's in the house. All right, guys. Good to see you guys all show up. Man, this was up. We got a whole crew in here. So this was amazing. I mean, this was a great call, and I was so happy that we did this yesterday on the post-market breakdown because it really gave people a lot of heads up. And I think these post-market breakdowns are clutch for you guys because, I only can write so much in a trade plan, but you guys can really get my feel and my attitude and how I feel about things here without the AI smoothing, let's call it, right? Because I can only put so much in a trade plan. I can't really be like, yeah, this is it, whatever. So this was great. I was glad to see this work out exactly like this. So here we go. So here's the next thing, right? So when I take this picture, you can obviously see that VIX is way down here, right? And we're getting suppressed. And I have talked about this spot until I'm blue in the face. Everybody on here that's been in here more than once knows it, right? This spot is 1744, 1765. This is our big boy monthly. Every single time we come down here, we get a reaction. It is right even here. The 1765, 1744 untested support on VIX, right? We are coming down into a big untested area. The 1765 untested daily and 1744 massive monthly. This level has proven true time and time again. So be prepared for a reaction at this spot. I can't hear you, but I know you're clapping. All right, I'll clap for me. All right, cool enough. All right, so check it out. So if price reacts at 1765, we want to watch our important pivots to the upside. We got the 1858 and the untested daily at 1909. 1909 is going to be our big pivot zone. If price pushes above here, I expect a reaction and more potential downside. Okay, so I'm already sniffing the thought process here. If this thing gets a reaction, we could really push down, right? The headwind. If we push above 1909, we see a significant amount of headwind in the indices, potentially pushing us down much lower. And then obviously in the VIX into the 1995 and the weekly now untested and the very significant pivot at 2078, right? So here was the 1909. We got our above below right here, right? So we break above, The 1995, I kind of expected a little reaction here. And then, of course, the 2078 was our next big one. Now, we know 2078 has been big for some time. I mean, we just played it earlier in the week where we were popping up here, and I said, hey, if they break 2078, we're going to pop hard in the ES. And they did, and it was a great context for us, right? So let's go ahead and get to the next slide. And so here we go. So I actually posted this in Twitter. This is, in Substack. This was our initial response down here. And I'm like, thank you. We're at this point, we're breaking hard in the ES, right? Because, and I'll show you soon, wait till you see this RTH chart. It is so beautiful. Anyways, so this is the spot that played. Again, I am expecting a reaction here. And then here is the final today. Look at this beast of a move. This thing took off like a shot. And we went right above 1858 and right above 1909. And at this point, I'm going to show you some screenshots. I was just shorting. I wasn't even waiting for retests. As soon as we were under certain levels, I saw VIX was grooving. I saw SPX start to lose levels. I'm just short. I'm short with 5-point stops. I don't care. Let's go, right? Because I'm riding momentum at this point. And you can even see, look, they ended up pulling back and playing 1909 for a pretty significant pop back to the 20s. So this was really nice. This played out so good, right? And we even talked about the 1909, in the previous slide right here. 1909 is going to be our big pivot zone. Voila, right? I hope you guys are putting all this stuff on your charts, because if you are not, you are slipping. All right. So, all right, on to the next one. So check this out. Here we go. Look at this. Okay. So this is what's funny, right? I'm a cash session trader. There's a reason I trade RTH, right? And the reason is obviously because that's when the liquidity is there. But the levels that I trade on my daily, weekly, and monthly time frame levels, they're all based on cash session. So, for me, that's the levels that I play. And that's the time that I trade, which is cash session. So that's the level, that's when these levels are derived from. So again, I want to show you this, and I'm just going to pull this up over here. Hang on one second. You're going to like this. This is how different this looks. So this is the ETH session. This was yesterday, right? We pushed up. This was the overnight. We push up, right? But how does it truly look on the cash session? The perfect touch. My God, the perfect touch. Nailed it, right? So the massive reaction zone, 1962 to 1965. We had the weekly POC, the major level, the daily, the monthly. And don't forget, we had a big-ass options pivot here that I put for you guys. Yeah, cash session, Michael. That's 9:30 to 4 o'clock, RTH. That is the cash session. The futures trade overnight, but that is not the real market, okay? The cash session is when SPX trades. That's when the stock market is open. That is called the cash session, okay? So we had this massive options pivot here that I put for you guys on the GEX options or deals here, the analyzer, which was perfect. It lined up with everything, okay? So not only did we have this massive level, we closed below it, right, yesterday, and then we opened below it. Look. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I thought I grabbed my chart. Look at this. We opened below it, right? So we didn't even see all that overnight nonsense. All we know is that we tapped it, we opened below it, and flushed. I'm immediately telling everybody in the room, it's time to get short. We got VIX reacting. We've opened below our level once again. This is a perfect touch. We're going, right? We're going. So let's go ahead and keep going. This is going to be great. So I think I got, let's see. There was somewhere in here, and I have to pull. Actually, let me see if I can find it just for you guys, because it's really important for you to understand this context here. I saw it when I was making the slides. Here we go. Let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 second. This is, that's the resistance. Hang on. What level is this? 50s. Here we go. So our first level of support, check this out. That's right here in the 50s. Well, as soon as I saw the cash sessions chart, I was like, okay, this thing's going to dump on everybody, right? All that support, the initial support I had right here at 51 and 38, that shit didn't even matter anymore once I realized what was happening here. And here's what would have been your big cue so that check this out. They played this in the overnight session to prop us up. It's an important level to be above below today. If we push below this, we can come down and retest the weekly at 69.4350. That was this red level right here, okay? We could retest this. Since that's tested and we'd be below yesterday's point of control, expect to push lower. Boom. I mean, what? Right there, laid it out for you. So in the beginning, I told everybody, hey, listen, we could potentially push higher if we get above 65, right? And I'm like, but I don't know. Don't really know. We really never know. Watch VIX, watch this, watch that, right? And then your first area of support, I basically say, hey, if we get below this and we retest 43 and it pushes lower, we're going to come lower. I mean, hello. Okay. All right. On to the next slide. I mean, I'm just showing you guys, just pretty cut and dry here. This was just such a sexy trade. Unbelievably sexy trade. Love it. All right. So I just can't believe it didn't play yesterday. I swear they tugged on my wiener pretty good on that one. So, all right. What's up, Kirks? Good to see you, Kirk. All right. So now we're into the next here. So look, of course, Edgeful came through today. Yesterday, they got stuffed. But again, I mean, these things happen, right? That's why it's a probability. If you have a bad trade on your process, say that you trade your process and you trade your process 10 times and it works great. And you have one time it doesn't work great. You're going to stop trading your process? Hell no, right? Absolutely not. So again, Edgeful gave us a 92% chance that we were going to break the prior day's low at 69.29.75. And you're probably thinking, well, Ryan, we could have went to the 65. That's true. We could have done that, right? But we opened below it. We flushed and we knew we were below the weekly, right? Because I just talked about how once we're below this weekly, and let me go ahead and pull this over for you so that you can see this because we just talked about this. But look how it looks on the ETH chart, on a normal chart, not the cash session. So look, we break the 51. Here's yesterday's point of control. Here was the weekly that we reached. As soon as we got below it, I said, man, this thing's going to continue to come down, right? And that's exactly what happened. We came down way far, right? So at this point, our yesterday's low was the 29 right here. So of course, Edgeful gave us a 92% chance that that was going to come down. Well, I had already been short. What's up, Jason? Good to see you, buddy. I had already been short, and I actually got out at the 50-day moving average and the put wall right there, 69.32. Our options levels are so good, I don't even risk it. I always take profits at them, okay? That's just me, right? And then I saw they back tested the 38 4-hour. Well, didn't we just talk about the 38 4-hour? I believe we did, right? That was in the trade plan, okay? So boom, they back tested that, and where did I take it to? Had to get my little scalps on. I had 2 on, 1 left. Took it down right here, won at yesterday's low, and then I got BE to tell everybody what's up, and boom, hit my target. Ding, 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 ding. That's what's up, right? And so that Edgeful gave me the edge and the confidence to get re-short and assume that we were going to come down and hit that, and we absolutely did, which was fantastic. So here is the next big boy, right? So check this out. Check this out. Remember, I told you we would come back to this. Well, here we are. We're back. We are back. All right. So you ready? All right. So market context. This was right in the beginning. If SPX falls below 69.14 on the indices, we have a problem. Right? Okay. And check this out. And the VIX, 69.65. If price pushes above this, it's going to cut it above 1909. We're going to see a significant amount of headwind, and it could push lower or push higher all the way into 1995 and 2078. So I'm telling everybody in the Discord room, hey guys, massive spot on SPX right here. All eyes on this, right? Because guys, I'm trading the plan. I literally trade this plan with you guys every single day. That's why being in the Discord room works, because I don't deviate from the plan. I actually trade this mofo. Right. And so I'm telling everybody, I'm keeping an eye on this. I'm sitting in front of 8 screens, got a little command center over here. And I'm like, okay, this is what's cracking. I'm watching NVIDIA. I'm watching VIX. I'm watching SPX. I got the ES in front of me. I'm telling everybody, hey, listen, this is the big spot right here. Okay. Boom. All eyes on this. Look, we broke below this. Right. And what did I just say? If it falls below this, the indices have a problem. Okay. We ended up coming way farther down, as you guys know. And then here was VIX still pushing above our 1858, 1909. And at this point, I'm just hitting the short button. I'm like, let's go, baby, because I knew the Momo was in our favor. And I'll be honest, we're going to talk about this. I still think we're coming lower. So whatever, we'll get back into that. I've been saying that for a while. And this was the big spot. This big spot that we tested today, I'm telling you, that's going to be if we can hold the lows, they'll come all the way back up. But this has an opportunity to just get slammed. So we'll see. So again, this is just to show you guys kind of how I play it so that you knew, right? We talked about the massive pivots yesterday. We talked about 69.03. We talked about 68.80. We talked about 68.57, right? These are all the same numbers that I continue to spit out every single day. Nothing's changed. Everything's exactly the same every single day. I keep doing it exactly the same. If you guys are trading these plans, you should be able to follow along perfectly clear with this stuff. Okay, so just to show you, under 3, why not? I'll take it to the daily, right? So I take 90.03 or 02, whatever, and I front run this, right? Always by 5 ticks, always, right? Because that's just how I do it, right? I figured out long enough that that's the perfect blend of front run and close enough that I usually always get a fill. I know Bryce is all over the 5-tick joint too. He's been making it happen. So obviously take it down there. And I'm like, look at this. SPX is in support, but oh my goodness, look at this VIX. We are screaming, right? So I'm like, okay, let's try it again, right? So here we are under 80, right? So I'm short 82.25, stops break even. I'm going to take it down for 10 more points. I think 12 actually, 12 points, whatever. So under here, it ended up bagging it, right? Because I'm just playing momentum at this point. We understand what VIX is doing. We watch an SPX. We know we're well underneath that 69.14. And as we're coming into support, which I'm telling everybody, hey, SPX is support here. It's coming in. This is my last opportunity to take a short stroke because we've moved down so stinking far, right? So boom, let's check this out. So here was the interesting part. So I actually was looking at along around 57 to 65. Well, it didn't quite make it there, but here was the interesting part, right? So I had a daily at 68.70 that I didn't even put in the trade plan because as like an untested spot to play, because in quite honestly, I just didn't like it, right? And so I wanted to use it more as a pivot to be above below, right? But it was in the trade plan. I had just anticipated us to come into this particular area. And then once they would get above 68.70, we would play that for continuation. But again, this is where being in the Discord room pays dividends, right? I'm like, look at this. It looks like it's playing perfectly. They swept the IB low, which is at 68.74. And of course, I'm like, damn, I should have got long over 80, right? We always want more. We always want more. That's just how it is. But it's all good, right? Because it really wasn't in my plan, right? I expected to sweep lower and then the reclaim over the 70, right? So they actually played it perfectly. And this was the support I was talking about on SPX. We came down and we played this massive weekly right here at 68.65 that ultimately ended up being the low of the day and had a beautiful retest. Also, as you can see here, VIX started getting some serious relief. Okay, so we knew that we were, coming into this lower area. We knew SPX was coming off of a big weekly. We see VIX starting to pull back. All the pieces of the puzzle are coming together, and it was pretty sweet. So I wanted to show you guys. I'm not necessarily going to apologize for not having this level in the trade plan as a buy spot because it was certainly in here. But I just wanted to show you that the level played. I just didn't expect it to play, I guess. So that's kind of sometimes you have to read in between the lines and say, oh, there's a daily at 68.70. Okay, cool, right? So that's a good one. So anyways, finally, end of the day, we had our big 28 daily level here, guys. So this was actually a level that I was looking to play for a long, but we were coming down so fast, I didn't even attempt it, right? Because at this point, I knew we were breaking below a bunch of stuff, but the 28 was actually the daily that was yesterday that we used to break above. If you guys recall, we had played that level 5 times before breaking above it yesterday. So this was a massive spot. I assumed that it would play for support on the way down, but it didn't, right? But now again, right? So now that we're back below it, this was a huge spot for us. So again, it goes to the same theory that is once support becomes resistance and vice versa. And this is exactly how you play this. Once you get below these certain levels, especially a daily level, and you can close below it on a 4-hour level, more than likely, or a 4-hour time frame, more than likely it will become resistance. So that's how you use that in combination with each other. And of course, this is a level that we knew from yesterday. This is a level that was in the plan to buy today. But again, once you're under it, it becomes resistance. So that was what's up. So that was really it. And, I was coming in, I actually took these pictures late into the day. I didn't get to post my own, but, honestly, it's not about me. It's really about you guys. And if you guys can make this process repeatable, So a lot of the guys in the room, they do really well. Sco here again, putting up the points as usual. This guy got his first payout. He's doing all the right things. Consistency. He's a course holder. He follows, the trade plans. He's in the room. This guy is turned into a real consistent killer. Love this guy. Congratulations, Sco. You had a great day. And then, of course, Bryce in the house, Mr. Unmonitored himself. I know you guys can see him in the live chat. Congratulations. Bryce is my trophy child here, my poster boy. This guy is only been trading like 6 months, and this guy puts up like $500 to a G-ball every single day while he works a full-time job. He trades the morning, and he gets out of the way. Bryce, I love you. You make me look so good. I love you. All right. And then we got Sam. Sam's always green. Sam's our NQ trader. He does his number too. But man, he does really well as well. Sam usually trades 10 accounts, et cetera, et cetera. But today you traded one for $500. Everybody made money. So there was a lot more posts in the room. I just grabbed what I could as this whole thing was starting to load up. So that was really it. We've really reached time here, to be honest with you. We're past the 30-minute mark, and I would love to talk about what could potentially happen tomorrow. Again, guys, we are still in this massive balance area. But what's interesting is really they started to sell off again at the end of the day, and they pushed back below our 69.03. I think. Let me look. Hang on. I think we're back below it right now. They closed at 69.0375. So 3.3 ticks above the level. So we'll see what happens. I mean, again, we're really literally, actually, you know what? Let me share a little. Why not? I ain't got nothing but time. We're just going to take 2 minutes. I just want to talk about this. So this is such a big area. Okay. I mean, hang on. Let me pull up my pen. Give me a second. All right. So this 69.65 spot, you guys know I've been talking about this for a long ass time, right? And we finally got the reaction that I expected. Okay. And this really could be the high. Okay. But I don't want to sit here and say that's absolutely going to happen because we've been in this massive balance area for a long ass time, months, right? I showed you guys yesterday on SPX. We've looked at it on ES. I mean, just months we've been sitting in this area, okay? But this right here is the move to the low. And this right here is what we lost. And we played it perfectly, as you guys can see, right? We've come down, and now we've held this area in the 70s. So we've got this area between 57 and 70 that is really just massive, support for us. We continue to hold it over and over again, as you can see right here. And they just continue to kind of do their number in here. I mean, just all the way across the board. Anyways, long story short, they could continue to drift back and forth, right? But again, if they cannot get above 65, we will eventually melt down, okay? That is a certain, okay? But again, the issue with this is SPX still hasn't lost support. So, we even though we played generally the same area, SPX is still up on the weekly and, it's still up on the daily. And so it looks a lot different than ES, right? And another thing that I wanted to show you guys too, even though that we had an 80-point range today, really from a profile perspective, looking at the weekly, look where we're at. We're right here, right? This is nothing, right? Yes, we had a beautiful smack, but it brought us right down into 69.12, which I talked about in last week's what do you want to call it? Weekend review, right? That this was the big level for us to break above or below, right? So this brought us really just back down into here, and our support, was down in here 93 for the POC. We ended up coming all the way down to here, almost to the previous weekly point of control. But look where we're at. I mean, like for real, guys. Look at this. I mean, how many weeks are we here? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. We've been sitting in the same range. I mean, this is not easy trading. Like this is probably one of the more difficult scenarios when you're not trending and you're not really making new lows or new highs. This becomes very difficult to pick a direction. So, not to tap myself on the back here, but I think I'm doing a pretty good job guiding you guys here because this is very hard. Okay. And so if you're not absolutely just murdering it right now, don't feel bad because it took me years to learn how to trade this crap. Right. And really, you know what the key is? And I've said this 100 times, right? Our edge is in the edges. Now I'm using this on a weekly time frame, but our edge is here and our edge is here. This is not an edge. This is the fuck zone, right? This is all bad, all of it, right? And the same thing applies here, right? This was all bad, as you guys know. We were able to catch the long from 70 and we caught the short from 65, right? It's 100 points. But guess where this was at, right? This was the edges, right? And so we're in this massive balance area. It's so difficult, right? So listen, just be patient and be careful. And, we will conquer these markets. That's not a question about it. But I'm just letting you guys know that from a weekly TPO and from a value standpoint, we really haven't gone anywhere. Okay, so it was a massive move today, but all we did is basically traverse the weekly range, and we're sitting right back kind of towards the top of it again. So, they're right back here at 69.03. Guess where we're at? And I know that, for those of you guys who understand how TPO works or even anything, we're right back at point of control. What is point of control? It's value. Zero edge. That is fair value. Zero edge. Okay, so tomorrow we'll figure out where we're at and we'll go from there. What's up, Richard? So, Richard, the Discord room is actually exclusive for course holders and Substack subscribers only. If you'd like to subscribe to the Substack, it makes you eligible, and you're more than welcome to come into the Discord and hang out with us. I do that for a reason. Obviously, I want everybody looking at the same thing, trading the same way, and obviously, we all follow the same methodology and trade plans, and it kind of keeps everybody on the same page. And we just absolutely murdered in there. So, if you're interested in putting up some points on the board, holler at me. You can check out the link in the bio and sign up for the trade plans. It's not expensive, bro. It's $2.50 a trading day. It's cheaper than the coffee. If you can't do that, then this isn't for you. So with that being said, you guys have a fantastic day. Today is my Friday for you guys. I do not do this tomorrow. As you guys know, I do it Monday through Thursday. So I will get you the trade plan out before the opening bell at 8:30. And I bid you adieu, and I will see you Sunday for the weekend review. You guys take care, and tomorrow we conquer the markets. Cheers.